Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Centre holds fifth round of talks with farmers in New Delhi. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar exudes confidence of farmers, ending agitation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India received record investment even during COVID-19 pandemic. India's total coronavirus active caseload drops below 410,000 after 136 days. National recovery rate reaches 94.20%. Jharkhand joins Option 1 to bridge GST compensation shortfall. Now all 28 states and 3 union territories with legislature on board to go for Option 1. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news in detail. Fifth round of talks between the centre and farmers' unions is being held in New Delhi this afternoon. Talking to media this morning, Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar exuded confidence that farmers will think positively and end their agitation. The previous round of talks were held in a cordial, transparent and frank atmosphere on the 3rd of this month. Representatives of 40 farmers' unions took part in the talks with the Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, Railways Minister Piyush Goyal and Minister of State for Commerce Som Prakash. The Agriculture Minister had reiterated the government's commitment to the welfare of the farmers.
बहुत ही सौहार्द वातावरण में चर्चा हुई। यूनियंस के लोगों ने अपना पक्ष रखा और सरकार ने भी अपना पक्ष रखा। 2-3 दौर की चर्चा में सामान्य तौर पर कुछ बिंदु निकाले गए हैं जिन पर किसान यूनियन की चिंता मुख्य रूप से है।
The minister assured the unions that the minimum support price MSP will remain and therefore the farmers need not fear that it will be done away with.
भारत सरकार इस बात पर विचार करेगी कि एपीएमसी सशक्त हो और एपीएमसी का उपयोग और बढ़े। जहां तक नए एक्ट का सवाल है उसमें एपीएमसी परिधि के बाहर प्राइवेट मंडियों का प्रावधान है तो प्राइवेट मंडियां आएंगी, लेकिन प्राइवेट मंडी और जो एपीएमसी एक्ट के अंतर्गत बनी हुई मंडियां हैं उन दोनों में कर की समानता हो।
The representatives of the farmers' unions raised the question of the constitutional validity of the 3 laws. The government side explained the constitutional provisions under which the central government legislated these laws. The farmers brought out issues related to the Agricultural Produce Market Committees, APMCs. They said there has to be a level playing field between APMCs and private markets and trade yards. They also said there is a need for proper registration of trade outside APMCs. The Agriculture Minister thanked the farmers' organizations for flagging their concerns and assured them that the government is always ready to listen to the farmers.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that even during the testing times of COVID-19, India has got record investment and much of this investment has come in the tech sector. The Prime Minister was delivering his keynote address at IIT 2020 Global Summit organized by Pan IIT USA yesterday.
In these testing times of COVID-19, India has got record investment. Much of this investment has come in the tech sector. Clearly, the world sees India as a trustworthy and promising partner. Friends, the collective force of the Pan IIT movement can add momentum to our dream of becoming an Atmanirbhar or self-reliant India.
The Prime Minister said the government is strongly committed to promote science and technology education in India. He said the government has ensured that the brand of IITs has only become stronger. He said in recent times a culture of hackathons is developing in the country and in them young minds are giving outstanding solutions to national and global problems. Prime Minister has reiterated that the government is fully committed to the principle of reform, perform and transform.
Ours is a government fully committed to the principle of reform, perform, transform. There is no sector left out from our reforms. Agriculture, atomic energy, defense, education, healthcare, infrastructure, finance, banking, taxation, the list goes on.
Mr. Modi listed out many path-breaking reforms brought in by the government in various sectors, such as assimilating 44 union labour laws into just 4 codes, having one of the lowest corporate tax rates in the world, production-linked incentive scheme in 10 key sectors to enhance exports as well as manufacturing. The Prime Minister said our actions today will shape our plans tomorrow. He said the post-COVID-19 order will be about relearning, rethinking, re-innovating and reinventing.
Our actions today will shape our planets tomorrow. The post-COVID-19 order will be about relearning, rethinking, re-innovating and reinventing in almost every field. This, along with a series of economic reforms, is what will re-energize our planet. It will ensure ease of living and positivity impact the poor as well as marginalized. We also saw how several innovations that came out during the pandemic emerged from collaboration between the industry and academia.
The Prime Minister said the world today needs viable solutions to adjust to the new normal. He added that the government is working with many countries in Southeast Asia and Europe to ensure that the youngsters get an international platform to showcase their skills and learn from best practices globally. He said India hosted the Vaibhav Summit, which brought together top quality talent in the fields of science and innovation. He said this summit set the tone for future collaborations in science and innovation. The Prime Minister said India is witnessing a sea change in the way it works. He said today, with the historic reforms in the space sector, the last frontier before humanity has opened up to Indian talent.
With 36,652 new COVID-19 infections, India's total cases reached 96,08,211. The Health Ministry said 512 people lost their lives in the last 24 hours, and the death toll has gone up to 1,39,700. Total discharged cases reached 90,58,822. In the last 24 hours, 42,533 people were discharged. The recovery rate has reached 94.20%. India's total active caseload has dropped below 4,10,000 today. This is the lowest after 136 days. The total active cases were over 4,11,000 on the 22nd of July. The Health Ministry said this has been made possible by the trend of recoveries exceeding new cases, which has ensured a total net reduction of the active caseload. India's present active caseload consists of just 4.26% of India's total positive cases. The new recoveries have led to a net decline of 6,393 in the total active cases. The daily new recoveries recorded in the country have been more than the daily cases registered from the last 8 days. 78.06% of the new recovered cases are observed to be concentrated in 10 states and union territories. Maharashtra has reported the maximum number of single-day recoveries with 6,776 newly recovered cases. 5,496 people recovered in Kerala, followed by 4,862 in Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the country will have a vaccine against coronavirus in the next few weeks. Addressing the all-party meeting yesterday, Mr. Modi informed that Indian scientists are confident of coming up with a vaccine against the corona menace in the next few weeks. He said 8 possible vaccine candidates are under different phases of trials in the country.
भारत की अपनी 3 अलग-अलग वैक्सीन का ट्रायल अलग-अलग चरणों में है। एक्सपर्ट्स ये मानकर चल रहे हैं कि अब कोरोना की वैक्सीन के लिए बहुत ज्यादा इंतजार नहीं करना पड़ेगा। माना जा रहा है कि अगले कुछ हफ्तों में कोरोना की वैक्सीन तैयार हो जाएगी। जैसे ही वैज्ञानिकों की हरी झंडी मिलेगी, भारत में टीकाकरण अभियान शुरू कर दिया जाएगा।
The Prime Minister said that the world is looking towards India for a cost-efficient and effective vaccine against the pandemic. He said through the collaborative efforts of the scientific fraternity, the country will deliver a viable option for mass vaccination in the near future. Mr. Modi informed that the vaccination program in the country will commence after a nod from the research scientists. He said the country has a robust network for such massive vaccination programs, and appropriate cold storage facilities have also been added for proper storage and supply of the vaccines. Mr. Modi said the healthcare workers and frontline corona warriors will be the ones who will be administered the vaccine first. He said the detailed priority list for the vaccination program will be prepared with the assistance of the state and union territory governments. The Prime Minister said that the pricing of the vaccine will be decided only after due consultation with the state governments, keeping public health care as the topmost priority.
वैक्सीन की कीमत कितनी होगी इसे लेकर भी सवाल स्वाभाविक है। केंद्र सरकार इस बारे में राज्य सरकारों के साथ बात कर रही है। वैक्सीन की कीमत को लेकर फैसला जन स्वास्थ्य को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देते हुए किया जाएगा और राज्य सरकारों की इसमें पूरी सहभागिता होगी।
The Gujarat government has finalized the structure for COVID-19 vaccination. Chief Secretary Anil Mukum reviewed the final preparations in a meeting of the steering committee held at Gandhinagar last evening. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
The Gujarat government has geared up its administration for COVID-19 vaccination. The state government has set up 47 stores, including 6 at zonal level and 41 at district and municipal corporation level for the storage of vaccines. State government has also prepared 2,189 cold chain points for transportation of vaccines in the remote areas. State government has already completed the technical audit of all facilities set up at these designated stores. As per the central government guidelines, 3,96,000 health workers, including 1,25,000 private health workers, will get vaccination in the first phase. Police staff, sanitation staff and revenue staff, including frontline workers, will get vaccination in the second phase. Their database has been prepared and finalized. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
Ahmedabad-based Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals has announced that the company has received an approval from the Drugs Controller General of India, DCGI, to begin the Phase 3 clinical trials with its biological therapy pegylated interferon alpha-2b, PEGI-HEP, in COVID-19 patients. PEGI-HEP is an approved drug and is being repurposed for the treatment of COVID-19. According to sources, the trials will be conducted on 250 patients across 25 centres in India during this month. The Ahmedabad-based healthcare major had completed the Phase 2 clinical trial last month. The second phase trials indicated that this biological drug had a beneficial impact on the patient suffering from moderate COVID-19 disease by reducing their viral load.
The World Health Organization hopes to have 500 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines available for distribution by the global COVAX initiative in the first quarter of 2021. This was stated by Chief Scientist Soumya Swaminathan at a Geneva news conference yesterday. To date, 189 countries have joined the COVAX program, which is backed by the WHO and seeks to ensure equitable distribution of vaccines. The United States is not among them, having secured bilateral deals. The initial COVAX plan is to vaccinate 20% of the populations at highest risk, including health workers and people aged over 65. Ms. Soumya Swaminathan told that the goal is to get at least 2 billion doses by the end of 2021, which will be enough to vaccinate 20% of the populations of the countries that are part of COVAX. This would be enough to bring to an end the acute phase of the pandemic by reducing mortality and the impact on health systems, she said. WHO hopes that in the first quarter of 2021, about 500 million of doses would be available to be distributed across the countries in a fair manner, Swaminathan said. Towards the end of the first quarter of 2021, some countries can start expecting doses. It is likely that a few countries may start earlier, she said without elaborating. COVAX is co-led by GAVI Vaccine Alliance, the WHO and the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, CEPI.
Mizoram has recorded recovery of 35 patients from the coronavirus infection in the past 24 hours, while 25 new cases were also detected yesterday. With this, the total number of positive cases of coronavirus rose to 3,913. According to the State Medical Bulletin, the recovery rate has further improved to 94.70%. So far, 3,690 have recovered and the number of active cases presently stands at 217. In Tripura, 33 fresh cases of coronavirus infection were recorded during the last 24 hours, while 62 infected people recovered. The state has also recorded further improvement in recovery rate, presently standing at 97.48% as of today. According to the State Health Bulletin, so far 31,986 people infected with the virus have been cured out of the total 32,836 positive cases recorded so far.
In Assam, the Education Department has notified Standard Operating Procedure SOP for reopening hostels for the final year students from 15th of this month in the state. The hostels will reopen only for the final year students of engineering colleges, degree colleges, polytechnics and universities, and at residential schools for class 10 and 12 of government and private schools, as well as coaching and training institutes. The notification said the students must submit consent letter from their parents for availing hostel facilities. Before the reopening of hostels, rapid antigen tests are to be conducted for superintendents, wardens, cooks and helpers engaged in hostel management. On the other hand, screening of every hostel boarder will also be done before they start staying in hostels. Professor of Endocrinology at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi, Dr. Rajesh Khargawat has said that there is no medicine for coronavirus as of now. The only way to avoid it is to follow precautions. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Khargawat said, one must not lower the guard as the pandemic is still on.
ये एक ऐसी बीमारी है जिसका बहुत अच्छा इलाज हमारे पास नहीं है, लेकिन हमारे पास बहुत सारे ऐसे स्टेप्स हैं जिससे हम इजीली बच सकते हैं। और सबसे बड़ा जो कदम हम उठा सकते हैं वो यह है कि हम एक दूसरे से दूरी बनाए रखें, और दूसरा कि हमें मास्क पहनना है, फेस कवर करके रखना है, ताकि इसके अलावा हमें ये करना है कि हम आंख, नाक, मुंह को नहीं छुएं, बार बार मास्क को नहीं छुएं, बार बार हाथ को धोते रहें। और हो सकता है आने वाले समय में कोरोना की वैक्सीन आ जाए, लेकिन जब तक ये वैक्सीन नहीं आती है हमें ये भूलना नहीं है कि कोरोना गया नहीं है, और ये सारे कदम हमें एहतियात के तौर पर उठाने हैं ताकि हम कोरोना से बच सकें।
Beginning today, the News Services Division will bring glimpses of the year that was in our special series Year-Ender 2020. COVID-19 pandemic has been the biggest story of the year, and India has seen a fight back against the disease under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India's COVID-19 infections per million and deaths per million are both much lower than many developed countries. India, in fact, was among the quickest to react at the government and institutional level. Talking to AIR News, Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul said that India has responded to the corona pandemic in a graded, stepwise and proactive manner over the past 9 months. He said as per the estimates, lakhs of COVID-19 cases were averted and several lives were saved.
जो इस पॉजिटिव केस के कांटेक्ट में आया, उसके साथ जो उसका साथ था, उसके पहले कुछ दिनों तक ऐसे व्यक्तियों को भी नजर में अपने आप को रखना है, अलग होना है, ताकि दूसरों की तरफ आपका संक्रमण आपसे ना जाए। ऐसे हम जिम्मेवारियां निभाएंगे, देश की क्षमता बढ़ाएंगे, अपने आप को कोरोना से बचाएंगे और अपने से आगे संक्रमण ना हो वो जिम्मेवारी निभाएंगे, तो इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है कि इस संक्रमण को हम पूरा कंट्रोल करेंगे, जानें भी बचेंगी और हमारी इकोनॉमी भी बचेगी, व्यवसाय भी बचेंगे और हमारा देश इस महामारी कैलेमिटी से, मुसीबत से उभर कर एक आत्मनिर्भर और सशक्त भारत बनके सामने आएगा।
Our correspondent takes a look at the quick decisions taken by the centre in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Containing the spread of coronavirus has been a big challenge, and India stood up to it with the Prime Minister leading from the front. On 20th March, Mr. Modi addressed the nation and gave the call a unique Jan Bhagidari initiative, Janta Curfew. People responded spontaneously, and this prepared the nation mentally for an upcoming lockdown. It was followed by a nationwide lockdown from March 24th. The period of lockdown was utilized to create 15,362 dedicated COVID-19 health facilities, about 15,40,000 isolation beds, 2,70,000 oxygen-supported beds, and 78,000 ICU beds. Screenings, quarantine, isolation, advisories, guidelines and protocols were put in place to ensure the safety of the citizens. Doctors, paramedics, healthcare and frontline workers put their best foot forward. Test, track and treat became the mantra. From one COVID testing lab in January, the nation now has more than 2,000 functional labs. More than 1 million people are being tested on a daily basis. Currently, India has one of the highest recovery rates in the world. India has now become self-reliant in production of masks, PPE kits and ventilators. It speaks volumes about India's fight against corona. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre holds fifth round of talks with farmers in New Delhi. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar exudes confidence of farmers ending agitation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India received record investment even during COVID-19 pandemic. India's total coronavirus active caseload drops below 4,10,000 after 136 days. National recovery rate reaches 94.20%. And Jharkhand joins option 1 to bridge GST compensation shortfall. Now all 28 states and 3 union territories with legislature on board to go for option 1. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क
up-to-date, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
Welcome back to the midday news. Jharkhand has become the latest state to go for option 1 to meet the revenue shortfall arising out of GST implementation. Jharkhand will get 1,689 crore rupees through special borrowing window to meet the GST implementation shortfall. Permission to raise additional 1,765 crore rupees through borrowings has also been issued to Jharkhand. With this, all the 28 states and 3 union territories with legislature have decided to go for option 1. Under the terms of option 1, states and union territories will get the facility of a special window for borrowings to meet the shortfall arising out of GST implementation and are entitled to get unconditional permission to borrow the final installment of 0.50% of gross state domestic product GSDP out of the 2% additional borrowings permitted by the government under Atmanirbhar Abhiyan in May this year. The window has been operationalized from the 23rd of October. The centre has already borrowed an amount of 30,000 crore rupees on behalf of the states in 5 installments and passed it on to the states and union territories who chose option 1. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually launch the construction work of Agra Metro on the 7th of December. Uttar Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation has set a deadline of 5 years for the completion of 2 corridors of Agra Metro, which will connect all the major tourist destinations, and the tourists coming from all over the world to see the Taj will get a new experience of green transport. More from our Lucknow correspondent.
In an exclusive interview with AIR, MD of Uttar Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation Kumar Keshav said that Agra Metro will be a boon to the tourism sector and it will take around 3 years for the first metro train to run on the priority section between Taj Mahal to Jama Masjid.
इसमें 3 एलिवेटेड स्टेशन और 3 अंडरग्राउंड स्टेशन है, आगरा फोर्ट, ताज महल एंड जामा मस्जिद। ये वर्क अब शुरू होने जा रहा है, पहले एलिवेटेड होगा फिर अंडरग्राउंड। और क्योंकि अंडरग्राउंड है तो इससे कंस्ट्रक्शन में थोड़ा टाइम ज्यादा लगता है, तो हम ये एंटिसिपेट करते हैं कि हम प्रायोरिटी सेक्शन का वर्क जो है करीब 3 से 3.5 साल में कंप्लीट करेंगे।
He said that first time heritage impact assessment was done with the help of IIT Madras and Archaeological Survey of India as per the guidelines of UNESCO before starting of work. Agra is also one of the most polluted cities of Uttar Pradesh and the metro will definitely help in decreasing the pollution level of the city. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has expressed grief over the demise of senior IAS officer Ajay Singh, who died yesterday after suffering a heart attack in Varanasi. Ajay Singh was performing his duties as an observer for the Uttar Pradesh Legislative Council polls in Varanasi after he was posted as Secretary National Integration in Uttar Pradesh government. As Mumbai is battling with the spread of coronavirus, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai has appealed to the followers of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar not to crowd Chaitya Bhumi tomorrow on the 64th death anniversary of the architect of Indian Constitution. Civic Body Chief Iqbal Singh Chahal has urged the people to pay homage to Dr. Ambedkar from the homes as a precautionary measure against coronavirus and considering the possibility of the second wave of infection. More from a Mumbai correspondent.
The BMC Commissioner said that all arrangements have been made for the live streaming of the program of the death anniversary of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter and Doordarshan Sahyadri channel. As a mark of respect, a helicopter will shower flowers on Chaitya Bhumi, the final resting place of Dr. Ambedkar. He also made an appeal to citizens not to visit Global Pagoda at Gorai as it will be kept shut till Monday. The state government has issued directives against gathering of people at Chaitya Bhumi. However, special programs would be performed on the day at the site, which includes paying homage by the Chief Minister along with other senior leaders and dignitaries. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
World Soil Day is being observed today. The day is held annually on this day to focus attention on the importance of healthy soil and to advocate for the sustainable management of soil resources. The theme of this year is Keep Soil Alive, Protect Soil Biodiversity, which aims to address the growing challenges in soil management, fighting soil biodiversity loss, increasing soil awareness, and encouraging governments, organizations, communities and individuals around the world to commit to proactively improving soil health. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar has said India has done important work in the field of soil health and has shown the way to many countries. On the occasion of World Soil Day, Mr. Javadekar tweeted that there is a need for awareness of soil health all over the world, not only for good soil, but also for good environment. Delhi's air quality turned severe today, with slow wind speed allowing the accumulation of locally generated pollutants. Thick smog engulfed the national capital in the morning. The air quality is expected to improve by tomorrow as the wind speed is likely to pick up. The air quality index AQI of the city was 401 at 10 a.m., which falls in the severe category.
The Inter-Ministerial Central Team deputed to make on-the-spot inspection of the damages due to Cyclone Nivar in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry reached Chennai today. The team, led by Union Home Ministry Joint Secretary Ashutosh Agnihotri, is represented by the Central Departments of Agriculture, Highways, Finance, Power, Rural Development, Fisheries and Water Resources. The members of the team will have a briefing by the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy this afternoon. They are expected to begin the evaluation of the damages from tomorrow. They are set to visit several parts of the 8 districts including Chennai, Chengalpattu, Kanchipuram, Tiruvallur, Kaddalur, Viluppuram, Vellore and Tirupattur, besides Puducherry till Monday. After the return to Chennai on Tuesday, they would hold discussions with state government officials. The depression over the Gulf of Mannar close to Ramanathapuram coast remains stationary during the past 33 hours. The latest weather bulletin by the Met Department in Chennai says it has been observed at about 40 kilometers southwest of Ramanathapuram and 70 kilometers west-southwest of Pamban. The depression is likely to remain practically stationary over the same region and weaken into a well-marked low-pressure area during the next 12 hours. Under the impact of the weather system, most districts in Tamil Nadu are expected to receive moderate to heavy rain today and tomorrow. Fishermen are advised not to venture into the Gulf of Mannar and adjoining southwest Bay of Bengal along and off the south Tamil Nadu coast.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital experienced haze in the morning. The temperature will vary between 11 and 28 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. Temperature will vary between 18 and 34 degrees. Kolkata will witness a partly cloudy skies. The city will observe minimum temperature of 17 degrees, maximum of 29. Srinagar will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will hover between 2 degrees Celsius and 8 degrees. In Jammu, the minimum temperature was 12 degrees, while maximum will be 22. The city will have a partly cloudy sky. Leh will have a generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature was minus 7 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 4 degrees. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky with temperature hovering between 2 degrees and 13 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will move between 5 to 18 degrees. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 9 and 25. Mainly clear sky will prevail. Chandigarh will have a mainly clear sky. Temperature is likely to hover between 11 to 25 degrees. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature will be 14 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be 30. The city will have a partly cloudy sky with haze. In cricket, India defeated hosts Australia by 11 runs in the first T20 international at Canberra to take a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series. The second T20 will be played tomorrow at Sydney Cricket Ground, and the third match will take place on the 8th of this month at the same venue. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre holds 5th round of talks with farmers in New Delhi. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar exudes confidence of farmers ending agitation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India received record investment even during COVID-19 pandemic. India's total coronavirus active caseload drops below 410,000 after 136 days. National recovery rate reaches 94.20%. And Jharkhand joins option 1 to bridge GST compensation shortfall. Now all 28 states and 3 union territories with legislature on board to go for option 1. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the Midday News.